Why is it every guy's dream to be Rambo for a day, huh? But when that fantasy starts to turn into a nightmarish collection of frustrated Rambos playing war games in camps with Nazi names, I say, baby, if it sounds like a Nazi, looks like a Nazi, smells like a Nazi, the son of a bitch is probably a Nazi. Now, tonight we meet members of Wolf's Lair, all right? And we find out if they're closet Nazis or victims of an hysterical smear campaign designed to put them out of business. They call it war games, baby. I'll tell you what. Let the games begin. Let the games begin. Let me introduce some of our guests at home base here for you. First, we've got Dan Chantos, who is the Marketing and Public Affairs Director of Wolf's Lair, right?
Consultant.
Dan, how you doing, pal?
Good. How you doing?
Bob Chartok is captain of Headhunter's paintball team. And I'm going to start with Dan and ask him first to explain to us what paintball is and how it's played.
Essentially, paintball is a strategy game that helps the individual develop both judgment, decision, tactical abilities, self-confidence, self-respect. What happens on a field are 15 guys, normally against 15 guys. They encounter each other in a skirmish line using the air gun that you just used. The goal, the objective is usually a capture the flag situation.
And this shoots paintballs.
Shoots a paintball.
Which if you're close enough will damn well hurt you if it hits in the eye or something.
Well, like sliding into second base will scrape your leg. That sort of hurt. You accept that as part of the game. The damage is minimal. Mostly it's just pride and ego that gets hurt. You eliminate somebody that way when that paintball, the gelatin capsule about the size of a marble, hits you someplace. It leaves a paint mark on you. You raise your hand and you leave the field. And the skirmish continues.
All right, now you guys have been accused of running a Nazi paramilitary war games camp, all right? I want the folks in the audience to see some tape, and as we see that tape, you tell us exactly what kind of a camp you run. Tape will be here. You've seen it before, pal. You can tell everyone what you do on the camp, just like you were explaining. Run that tape for me, will you please? Don't need to look at my ugly puss.
Okay, now you see them. They've just taken off. The game has just started. They're looking to get the best position. Here's a guy that's making an individual move you kind of go by shoot, move, and communicate. Okay.
So they're firing at each other just like a war.
Well,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Do you have any women play that game?
Absolutely, about 15%.
About 15%.
Yeah.
About 50% of the people who play that game are women. Dan, your camp is called Wolf's Lair, right? That's named after Hitler's military headquarters in Prussia, then?
I don't know.
It was either Bavaria or Prussia.
Well, Wolf's Lair was a name of his conference center.
Now, that's just one of several references to Nazi Germany. Are you in any way promoting a Nazi philosophy?
No, we're not. What's going on up there is this. It's a me-different marketing strategy whereby experienced paintball players who are tired of playing in the woods now have an opportunity to come up and play, if you will, the bad guys, the BGs, the personnel that work up there. It's a team that exists there for that one purpose only. That's to challenge other teams from the Eastern.
So the reason you've given yourself the bad names then is to be the bad guys.
It stirs controversy. At the same time, it's in the mind.
Do you own that area you play, or do you lease it? What is it?
The owners do own that, yes.
The owners own it?
Yes.
People stay overnight?
They can, yes. It's a 3-hour drive from New York to New Milford, Pennsylvania.
How many people can you put up there overnight?
The intention is to put up as many as 2,000 people.
Wow. You have barracks and everything for that?
Yes, they are. They're just like a, it's like a Boy Scout
How many
camp.
barracks do you have?
Oh, let's see, about 35.
About
Sleeps
35
about
barracks.
21 apiece.
How many of those barracks are in use usually?
About 4 or 5.
4 or 5. So you're really planning ahead then, huh?
Well, the intention was to take right off and be a tournament place, to handle 2,000 people. We received resistance from the local planning commission because of the perceived threat that it was going to be something of the hate movement type.
I got you. Let me go to Bob a second. Bob, you're a paintball expert, and you played at Wolf Slayer, am I correct?
Yes, I have.
What do you think of Dan's approach to the game?
Well, originally the game was brought to my attention to be a Nazi flavor up there by Jerry Braun and its affiliates at NSG. I have found going up there, they had a team called the Waffen Elite. I was not, and I voiced my opinion to the owners, that I think as a Jew, any type of connotation to Nazism is a disgrace.
Well, what are the connotations that were there to Nazism?
I personally had not seen any. Originally, it was reported they, in the opening day ceremony, they all dressed up in black and everything. Mm-hmm. I have gone back several times since and have not seen the same flavor as originally attended.
Did the dressing up in black tell you something?
Well, it was...
Is that a connotation?
Sure.
Of what?
Of the SS to me.
How about the connotation of a Jesuit priest? They dress in black, too.
Yes, but they were also wearing armbands with lightning bolts on them. That I wouldn't see a Jesuit priest wearing.
No, but you might see Benjamin Franklin wearing it.
I didn't notice that in any of the pictures.
I also was told that there was a Nazi similarity to your swastika, to the swastika in your,
It's called a...
Yeah, see that? Where is that? Give me that item. Bring out the television here for a studio audience. The monitor, please. Let's see that at home. Show me the 2 pictures. Give me that. Give me that. Turn around so I can see it. All right, right there. Now, up close. Here, you get a look at that. What is that?
Called a wolf's angle.
Wolf's angle?
Over 1,000 years ago, barbarians who only had axes used to mark the trees of their boundaries with that. Swipe, 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 and then one in the center. They chopped it. Stands for wolf. Wolf's lair.
Will you buy that?
I won't buy it.
Okay.
I won't buy it, but I'm not a maven in that area.
Let me ask you a question. What's been the response to the German flavor in your camp? Be a lot of players who've had the same bad reaction as Bob has had?
No. And I'll tell you why. Nobody's being indoctrinated. It's not white supremacy. It's not a hate movement. All it is a marketing device. That's it. It's pure fiction. Now, the gentlemen who come up there and play, the ladies who come up there and play, find out one thing and one thing only. It is the single most elaborate field in North America indicating growth stage in this industry. Now, that might threaten people who are invested time and energy in smaller fields with less developed fields. All right?
Let me ask Bob.
I have found the fields to be, again, I went up there with a prejudice attitude. I came, I brought the attention to your producers of it. I found it to be totally different than I was told it to be. I found it to be one of the most elaborate and unique fields around. Now, I was talking to someone in the green room earlier, and he was swearing up and down that every weekend they're running Nazi training. I've been up there several weekends.
So you don't feel that you've been up there several weekends and haven't seen it?
I have not seen it.
Is it possible you or other people are being overly sensitive, or do you think these guys are indeed, in any way, shape, or form, promoting a dangerous national philosophy?
I think in the beginning, as I stated, I was oversensitive to it.
Okay, all right. I think we've about worn this little mat out. We'll meet a rival war games owner who Dan accuses of starting the smear campaign about Wolf's Lair and calling them a Nazi get-together. Stay with us. Tell you what, going to go to some other guests we have at home base. New gentleman who's joined us. Bob, before I go to them, You were kind enough to bring this story to us.
Yes.
6 weeks you've been calling my producers and telling them that this guy was a no-good, lousy, Nazi bastard. How come you turned chicken when you got up there and didn't say diddly squat?
I didn't turn chicken.
Yeah, well, then how come you are chicken? You called the guy to my producers. You said you couldn't wait to get at this lousy Nazi bastard.
I was told certain things by people.
You call people lousy Nazi bastards because you're told certain things by people and be allowed to
I read
check them out
certain
yourself?
articles. I went to check it out myself. I was also
How
told...
long ago did you go to check it out?
I went up with one of your producers up there.
That was the first time you checked it out?
I went there opening day. I found one image, then I found another image with the producer, and then I went up a couple of times afterward, after I was warned not to go up again.
Who were you warned by?
I was warned by people in the industry.
Name them.
A couple of people that worked for Jerry Broad.
Name them. Name them. I'm hearing a lot of loose lip. I'm hearing What?
Your producer asked me not to go up there again. Jerry Broad's staff, by a guy by the name of Ronnie, asked me not to go up again.
Did they tell you why?
They said
Andy?
it was a put on.
Andy, come here. Let me see you. Let me introduce you to Andy Regal, my producer.
I know who he is.
Did you tell him not to go up there again?
No, I did not.
That's...
This man's worked for me for 3.5 years, never lied to me. And you look at him and say that's bullshit. I say you're a chicken. You're nothing. You're a Get him out of here. Get him out. Out. Go. Out. Get him out. You're gone. You're gone. Bye. Get out. Get out. I said get out. You're gone, sir. You're gone. I told you I don't like you. You're a... I said I don't like you. Get out before I rip you out myself. Let me go back to you, Dan, because I'm not sure all the shoes are clean on you either, all right? You stated that the accusation of Nazism at Wolf's Lair was created by the gentleman seated next to you.
Not a gentleman.
All right? To put you out of business. Now elaborate for me.
About 1.5 years ago, I started the consulting business in the paintball industry. Since that time, this gentleman's reputation has preceded him for a great many deeds regarding the closing of fields. Legal
What
deeds.
reputation, and what do you have to back it up?
There's a couple of names that I could, in fact, if I may, this gentleman is in court right now, according to my information, with a fellow field owner in Long Island. The intent, in my perception, is to put that gentleman out of business because he's a competitor.
Are you indeed, Jerry, spearheading this campaign to paint Wolf's Lair as a Nazi retreat in an effort to run the competition to the ground?
Not at all.
Have you ever tried to put other paintball camps out of business?
No, sir.
Make sure Make sure you tell me the
I'm going
truth.
to tell you the truth. In Long Island, we helped start the operation and had an interest in the operation. Indeed, we're in the process of litigation now. The trial has ended, and we are awaiting a verdict. We have alleged in a court of law that that interest was wrongfully deprived of us. But those people who know the history of paintball know that the fields that started in Long Island started under our aegis as well, in which the reservations were taken for Long Island and our fields in Newburgh, New York. Under no other circumstances had we made any effort, attempt, effect to close any fields down.
Have you made any effort or attempt to paint these guys as Nazis?
Not to paint them, I'll tell you this, Mort,
All right.
that if you wear feathers in a bill and you waddle and you quack, don't cry foul when you're called a duck. Now, Mort,
You can trust this man's judgment. He will never call the owners of Wolf's Lair Nazis, not here or ever. Trust his judgment, because he knows they're not.
let me bring to your attention, Mort, an article that appeared in the Philadelphia Inquirer. A place for grown-ups to play war with a Nazi flavor. And in it, George Funkhauser, the starter of Wolf's Lair, has several quotes. And these are quotes from the paper. I have not to date heard him deny the accuracy of these quotes. Funkhauser, a Buck County gold and silver dealer, said his critics here can shove it. As for the Jewish residents who said they were worried, Funkhauser warned, I'll feed those fears more than they've ever dreamed. That's the Philadelphia Inquirer. Here, Morton.
Who said this, Dan?
Let me
Who
All
said
right,
this, Dan?
Huh?
Was this an accurate? No, was it accurate, huh?
Three people.
There is a
Three people.
Seems to me
I
there's a
talked to.
Nazi. Seems to me there's a Nazi by the name of Funkhausen or something. Yakov.
Ronnie,
Yakov. Does the
suitcase?
name
it does.
from the Jewish Defense Group? Does the name Yakov Funkhausen? Does that ring a bell?
Let me start by saying, number one, the word wolf slayer gives it away. This man's a fraud. This man's a neo-Nazi. Yeah! One minute. Hold it. First, wolf slayer was the name of Hitler's house in Berchtesgaden, which were the mountains of Bavaria, which was in Germany, number one.
All right, but
number
Yakov,
two,
Yakov, so what? Does
George
that make you a Nazi?
Funkenhauser is an alias for a man named Roy Frankhauser, who doesn't have the guts to say that, yes, I am a neo-Nazi party.
Call him a neo-Nazi.
That's
then.
right.
Call George.
And you
Call
don't have the guts to say it
Call
either,
him.
Ben. I want you to know something, pal. I
Call
gotta tell
him.
you something.
Call him out right
I want
now.
you to tell you something.
You can't do it, can you?
Is he a
You cannot
neo-Nazi?
He's a neo-Nazi, and these
said
war
it.
games... Hold it. 1 minute. By the way, this is document. Roy Frankhauser had ties to the American Nazi Party, has ties to Lyndon LaRouche. Okay? These weekend, so to speak, paramilitary camps are not the paintball games that when the Purdue...
Pennsylvania
1
has
minute.
a law
Excuse me.
against that, pal.
Excuse
We
me,
would have
sir.
been closed down by
Excuse me.
now.
You'll have your chance
No.
when I finish.
All right, go ahead. You be
These
subjective. Go ahead.
supposedly weekend camp games,
Patronize you.
okay? This flavor, Nazi flavor, these are neo-Nazis who are out to make sure
It's gospel.
that they are going to
Yeah, that paper's
destroy the
gospel,
Jewish
isn't it?
people and American people who don't believe in Nazi sick philosophy.
Neither do I.
Hold on a minute. You're a liar
Neither. What? Wait a minute.
and
now.
you're a liar. 1 minute.
Whoa.
1 minute.
Woo.
1 minute. Then there wouldn't be called
wanna go
wolf
down there
slayer.
and
No.
say
Then
something?
it would not be
I got
called
this.
wolf slayer. Let me tell you something.
What do I do?
If you had a camp called Camp Klansman, you're going to tell me that it's not associated with the code. 1 minute. No, 1 minute. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. The word wolf slayer gives it away.
That's where the man was.
That gives
They
it
tried to
away.
assassinate that man there. Ooh, wait
That
a minute.
gives it away. By the
New
way,
information. That was a
another
coup d'etat,
thing.
and they almost took over.
One
And they
more
almost
thing.
stopped the war
One
there.
more thing. You should
So
know.
maybe it's commemorating that.
You should
Did you ever
know
think about that?
You should know that these people are copycats. These people are copycats of an even more dangerous organization called the Posse Comitatus, which is in the Midwest, which has
These are unsubstantiated.
has over
I can't believe
13
this.
chapters in the Midwest, basically in Idaho, who have paramilitary training with real weapons.
This is wholly subjective. You know that?
Yakov,
No
let me
subject.
ask Yakov a question.
I
I
empathize
saw in
with you.
some literature that passed down to me, it said,
Right there.
indeed, one of their fields is named Bastogne, after the city in France that the Germans defeated. This is another little piece of dandruff on the coats of these guys. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Then would you also say and agree that it also could be very American, because I could say in turn, one of the cities is called Bastogne, a city in France that was liberated by the Allies?
Yes, well, yes. But not with the literature, the Achtung, and the dressing in black as the SS dressed, and all the different types of Nazi symbols that we saw.
But earlier in the show, he told us they were setting those people up as the bad guys for people to come in and beat those Nazis.
Be Americans and beat us.
What do you expect him to say? You expect him to openly say,
could throw that
which
one
he
down.
doesn't have the guts
What
to
do I
say?
expect you to say?
No.
Let me ask you a
come
question.
on.
Let me ask
Hold
you a
on minute.
question.
1 minute.
Do you admire Lyndon LaRouche?
No. No, I do not.
Have you ever met Lyndon LaRouche?
No, I haven't. I've seen him
Has
on the
Mr.
TV.
Frankhausen, Hoffer, or Huber, whatever the hell his name
Frankhausen.
is?
It's not his name. It's not his name.
That's
What's his
You
name?
have. I'm sorry.
What's his name?
I promised him I would
What's
not
his name?
say his name.
You said you would not say his name.
That's it.
We invited him. Wait a second. We invited him
Say his
to
name.
be on this show.
I know.
He did not want to be on.
After that
His
trash,
mother
after that
called,
trash,
his mother called and cried and begged that we don't reveal his name. Now,
That's
what's going
a
on
Nazi
here?
coward.
What's going on? What's
say his
going
name.
on here?
Say his name.
Let me
where
go to
is
this
Roy
gentleman. Forget the red cards. We're breaking nothing. I want to introduce this guy. Scotty, go ahead. You want to say something, sir?
My name is Scott Wood. I'm captain of one of these paintball teams called Sergeant York's All-Americans. The first thing I want to say is I am very impressed by you, Yakov. I am impressed by a man that can reach into my mind and this man's mind and tell us what we are thinking. God can do that. How do you do it? I am impressed.
I'm also impressed with your names, which are front groups with what you can't really admit it's true. That's also. No, no! No, let me say something.
Allow me.
Listen,
Allow me, Yakov.
how come your head
letting
man
it be,
never
Doug.
didn't come down? How come he's not here?
He is not my head man. I am a captain of a touring competition team.
Let's
Okay.
get the
Now, we're
competition
talking-
going after these
we're
commercials, all right? Stand by.